down, and he's had we appreciate that. It's been a long day for Jim, no question about it. So let's we are ready to go right here. Jim, Frangie, good to see you. How are you? All right, it's been a long day, but Jim kind enough to join us here on the program. The head football coach at the University of Florida is Jim McElwain. How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. What's happening here, guys?
Having fun? Is it a long day or a good day?
Oh, so you know what? As you go through life, here's the one thing I do know. You can make something miserable, right. It's going to be miserable. But when you attack it and enjoy it, this is actually a lot of fun.
Yeah, and you know what? And I can tell you have a lot of fun. Hey, let me ask you, Brady and I were just talking about this. You've had the whole cycle now. You've been there. You've done this before. You've been through a whole season. Your players, Jim, have now been through a whole year of your workout plan and whatnot.
Poor guys.
Yeah. How different has it been for you?
Oh, I don't. I think every year it's new. I think it's one thing Brady can say, too, is, here's a good thing. We've got an opportunity now where guys know the expectations of how to go about your daily work. That's big.
Right.
And so there aren't any I wonder what's going to happen here. Here's what's going to happen. Now, each team itself, they kind of create their own profile and who they are. Yeah. And I'm excited to see how kind of coming out of two-a-days, what this one's all about.
You've got a lot of good defensive players coming back. Marcus and Jared being here today. What does it mean to you that those guys, wanted to come back and be Gators this season?
I can't tell you how excited I am about that. And two guys that, they're going to get their degrees at the end of this year, and that is something that's invaluable. And yet they chose to come back and help us get a little bit better. And they've been two great leaders, and I'm sure excited they chose to do that.
Boy, Jim, I got to tell you, despite all the defensive guys you lost, it looks like the team's going to be really good on defense again, right? On paper, a lot of good players.
No, I think we do. And here's a good thing. There was an established mental way you go about it as being a Florida Gator on defense. Yeah. And that's that's a credit to the guys that were here. You know what I mean? It's a way they played. And that's a good thing. And so I think what has happened is there's been a little bit, handing of the torch. And those really good players that left kind of said, hey, wait a minute now. It's up to you guys to do this. And that's something we've got to get our offense to do.
You brought David Sharp here. He's a Jacksonville kid. Really impressed talking with him. Looked like he really he got after it this spring, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. He's holding himself to a higher standard. And I think learning that he can push himself and affect the people around him in a positive way and not, a negative way. And it's something that I think when he started to do that, it was like, hey, you know what? That's pretty cool, right? And so I'm excited about his development, and he's going to be a big part of how good we are up front.
Florida coach Jim McElwain with us. Jim, everybody wants to know about your quarterbacks. Luke and Austin, the veteran guys, the two young guys. What did you see in the spring?
You know what? I saw a room that was really good. I saw a room that was competitive. I saw a room that understood all the time it takes outside of just the meeting as far as the implementation of a situational plan, a game plan, installs. It was really good. The other thing I saw is a room that has a lot of arm talent. And, what I'm excited about being able to stretch the field.
I'm excited about the running backs, Coach. I know you had a 1,000-yard back last year, and that hasn't happened very often in Florida, and that's to be commended. But just looking at that group in the spring, you feel like you got guys, maybe you can even elevate that, get the yardage numbers for your offense up a little bit?
Well, both Jordans in Scarlett and Cronkite, having that experience and that taste, I think, a year ago, man, you just see those guys. They've grown, they've gotten bigger, they're playing with more confidence in what they're doing. Seeing the push of Mark Thompson, with Mark Herndon kind of helping him along the way. And, this little Michael Pirines a pretty darn good player, too. So, there again, I think when you talk about – here's what's really interesting. Good teams are made up of good position groups and good position group meeting rooms. It's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
And when you got guys that are both competitive and yet supportive is something that's really important. I see that out of that room as well.
To that end, your receivers, and obviously Callaway's back out there. I know your hands are tied in terms of what you could talk about specifically. I know you addressed that earlier, and we appreciate that. But what about the room? What about Fullwood? What about some of the younger guys there? Do you like that room as well?
You know, Ahmad, Chris Thompson's a guy that played unbelievable on special teams, and we've got to find a way to get him the ball by stretching the field. Ahmad, you know, we've asked him now to take a different role. He's no longer the pup. He's a guy who's been there.
Yeah.
And so we've asked him to kind of show the way on these 5 new receivers that we have that I know we're really excited about. I think here's the one thing. I was telling somebody earlier, I think the most exciting people in the stadium when we open up are going to be the people selling programs, because there's a whole lot of New Jersey numbers out there.
Would you agree? We'll have to get coached up before we go in there.
Yeah.
Coach, what about, but would you add the tight ends to that group? I mean, I know you lost a good one in McGee, but boy, Goolsby looked good in the spring. It looks like you got some talent there.
Yeah, Ciante, Morrill. You know, it's one of those deals where I think we got 4 guys in that room. Still battling and competing. Not sure we have the on-the-line blocker yet we need. But we'll see. Cam Knight and Morrill Stevens came a long ways in the spring, so that's going to be really important, those 2 guys' development as well.
Jim, final thing or two here. Obviously, important moments in Gator Nation. Jeremy Foley, one of the best ADs ever, steps down. Steve Spurrier gets his name on the field. I know you were greatly respectful of both those gentlemen, aren't you?
Yeah, and you know, for Jeremy, it's one of those deals. You know, let's celebrate what he's done for Gator athletics. I mean, all athletics, and I mean, he's a guy that obviously had a big part in me coming, and I'm disappointed that he's not going to be there to see this through. Yet I know he will always be there. Yeah. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
And you know, I'm really happy for him, and yet the direction that we go, you know what? Gator fans, we'll do it right, and that's a good thing. Coach Spurrier, you know, I mean, does it get any better than that? You know, now I not only drive by his statue every day, now I got to walk over his name, right? Is that one of those things I got to jump over? Yeah. But I will say this, well-deserved, because that guy is Gator football.
Yeah, Jim McElwain. Hey, thanks for stopping by. I know it's a crazy busy day for you. Hey, good luck this year. It's going to be fun to watch.
Appreciate it, guys.
Thanks, Coach.